Zahir, Kelvin, Abdullah, and this is Nightline. The top stories: Malaysia and Singapore reach key understanding on Flight Information Region FIR arrangement. Also, Shamsul Iskandar and Albert Tay claim trial to 4 charges of bribery. We begin with the story. A landslide following heavy rain since late afternoon on Thursday has forced the evacuation of residents of 3 houses in Selangor. It was at 7 p.m. that 2 houses at Kampung Bukit Sungai Puteh, Lembah Jaya Utara in Ampang were affected. A spokesman from the Selangor Fire and Rescue Department said that they were alerted of the incident at about 7:09 p.m. Upon arrival, rescue personnel discovered the landslide spanned 12.1 meters and collapsed onto the roofs of 2 single-story houses. However, no casualties were reported. At about the same time in Gombak, a landslide measuring about 20 meters in height occurred at Kampong Tengah, affecting a 3-story house after it was struck by a fallen tree. The residents have since been ordered to evacuate their homes. The continuous downpour also caused flash floods in several areas across Kuala Lumpur. Members of the public took to social media to share videos and photographs showing parts of the federal capital inundated by rising floodwaters. Among the affected locations were around the Jalan Pahang roundabout, Jalan Tun Razak, and near the Kuala Lumpur World Trade Center, where several major roads in the city center became heavily congested. Floodwaters reportedly reached waist level, slowing traffic and leaving many motorists stranded on the roads. Flash floods were also reported in Petaling Jaya, Bangsa, Gombak, Batu Caves and Kajang. Malaysia and Singapore have reached a key understanding in their ongoing discussions on the Flight Information Region FIR, with both sides agreeing that any future arrangement must ensure smooth and unhindered air traffic movements. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said Malaysia recognizes Singapore's need for safe and efficient airflow into Changi and Seletar airports, while Malaysia similarly requires free movement of flights to Sabah and Sarawak. The agreement was reached at the 12th Malaysia-Singapore Leaders Retreat in the Republic on Thursday. Anwar noted that sustained engagement at the leadership and ministerial levels has driven tangible progress in resolving the long-pending matter, adding that these continued discussions have been instrumental in bringing both countries closer to a final resolution of several outstanding issues.
Membantu menyelaras, memudahkan perjalanan Singapura. Kita juga kenakan syarat supaya laluan dijamin mudah dan bebas untuk penerbangan dari Malaysia atau Semenanjung ke Sabah, Sarawak dan ke Timur.
On maritime boundary issues, Anwar said Malaysia and Singapore must work towards an amicable resolution, stressing that both nations should pursue progress.
Jadi kita telah bincang cari jalan bagaimana boleh meleraikan, tapi dia lebih rumit daripada beberapa isu yang lain. Kita akan bincang kerana ini soal kedaulatan negara dan kita tidak boleh umpamanya mengabaikan kepentingan ini, terutama bila ada kecuaian yang lalu dalam soal penyerahan batu putih.
Anwar also stressed that Malaysia looks forward to ensuring its unique relationship with Singapore is continuously strengthened, not only in diplomatic relations but also in economic, trade, cultural and educational fields. Meanwhile, Malaysia and Singapore signed an additional agreement for the Johor Bahru-Singapore Rapid Transit System, RTS. The RTS link connecting Bukit Chagar in Johor Bahru to Woodlands North in Singapore is on track for completion by December 31st, 2026, with operations set to begin in January 2027. Both countries also inked their renewed commitment to combat cross-border drug trafficking and related criminal networks. Officials are also expected to step up joint operations and exercises as part of a broader effort to curb cross-border drug syndicates. On healthcare, Malaysia and Singapore agreed to deepen collaboration in fields such as digital health, health financing, public health and long-term care. The deal includes greater exchange of research, policy insights and best practices alongside cross-border visits by experts and officials. Singapore, meantime, will establish its consulates in Sabah and Sarawak after getting Putrajaya's approval. The announcement was made by Singapore Prime Minister Lawrence Wong during the joint media conference with Anwar.
This will allow Singapore to provide consular services to Singaporeans there and deepen the already robust ties between our peoples.
The proposal was first discussed at the previous leaders' retreat in Putrajaya in January. At that time, the two countries issued a joint statement acknowledging Singapore's intention to open the consulates, though formal approval had not yet been granted. Singapore currently operates 2 diplomatic missions in Malaysia, a high commission in Kuala Lumpur and a consulate in Johor Bahru established in 2009. Wong said, as close neighbours and good friends, Malaysia and Singapore continue to enjoy an open and constructive relationship. Both countries have managed to maintain positive relations even while negotiating complex issues such as airspace, water and maritime boundaries. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim has granted the federal government permission to deploy 2 of his personal high-powered airboats for flood rescue operations. The king consented to the use of the assets due to the current unpredictable weather. According to a statement on the King's official Facebook page, Sultan Ibrahim granted permission aims to ensure rescue agencies are prepared should the second wave of flooding occur. The post stated that the 2 airboats stationed at Istana Negara are expected to enhance operational efficiency and speed up the delivery of emergency aid. In March 2023, 3 of the King's airboats were mobilized to rescue, evacuate and assist flood victims in Johor. The assets were also used to deliver food supplies to cut off Orang Asli settlements in Kluang during that disaster. The federal government then thanked Sultan Ibrahim for granting permission to use the airboats. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the royal support reflects the King's deep concern for the safety and welfare of the people in flood-hit areas. In his Facebook post, Anwar mentioned that the King's support would strengthen preparedness and streamline rescue operations should a second wave of flooding occur. Former political secretary to the Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Shamsul Iskandar Muhammad Akin, and businessman Albert Tay were each charged with 4 counts of bribery in the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court. Tay was accused of offering bribes worth over 176,000 ringgit to Shamsul Iskandar, who was alleged to have received them. Both claimed trial to all the charges. Shamsul Iskandar and Tay were both escorted by Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC officers as they were brought separately from the MACC headquarters in Putrajaya to the Kuala Lumpur court complex on Thursday. According to the charge sheet, Tay allegedly gave a cash bribe of 100,000 ringgit to Shamsul Iskandar to encourage him to assist Tay's company in obtaining a mineral prospecting license in Sabah. He was also accused of giving bribes in the form of furniture and electrical items worth over 14,000 ringgit to Shamsul Iskandar. For the 3rd and 4th charges, Tay was accused of giving cash bribes of 40,000 ringgit and electrical items worth over 22,000 ringgit. Tay allegedly committed the acts at a hotel car park in Kuala Lumpur on November 24, 2023. In the same court, Shamsul Iskandar was charged with agreeing to accept 100,000 ringgit in cash bribes from Tay. For the 2nd and 3rd charges, he allegedly received furniture and electrical items worth over 14,000 and cash of 40,000 ringgit. He is also charged with accepting furniture and electrical items worth more than 22,000 ringgit. Judge Susanna Hussain set bail at 70,000 ringgit for Tay, while Shamsul Iskandar was granted 50,000 ringgit bail. The court also ordered both to report to the MACC headquarters once a month and fixed January 8th for the next case mentioned. Both suspects are also scheduled to be charged at the Shah Alam Sessions Court on Friday. Following the proceedings, Shamsul Iskandar shared with the media the approach he is taking in response to the charges against him.
Sejak dari awal, mana rekan-rekan media tahu, saya mengambil sikap yang proaktif dan memberikan kerjasama pada SPRM terutamanya untuk menyelesaikan siasatan dan insyaAllah membersihkan nama saya.
Shamsul Iskandar's lawyer, Yusmadi Yusuf, also urged the public, especially on social media, not to make arbitrary assumptions about his client.
Kes ini baru bermula. Tak perlu kita berspekulasi. Kerana saya lihat banyak juga komen-komen yang saya rasa yang agak melampaui batas dan saya tidak teragak-agak untuk melihat mana-mana komen-komen yang melampaui daripada apa sepatutnya.
Meanwhile, lawyer Latifa Koya, who is representing Tay, explained that the businessman was not subjected to any additional conditions regarding his bail.
And since his passport and the other condition of reporting has already been done in the previous case in Sabah, so there is no additional request.
The resolution on the Terengganu government's warning notices against 10 plantation lots owned by Felda and FGV Holdings Berhad will be presented at Friday's cabinet meeting. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahir Hamidi said Felda and FGV boards of directors had met on Thursday to draft suitable recommendations and possible solutions.
Saya sendiri akan membawa permasalahan ini ke Jemaah Menteri besok, ya. Dan saya pasti beberapa saranan dan cadangan daripada resolusi mesyuarat lembaga pengarah akan disampaikan kepada saya dan saya akan bentangkan besok di mesyuarat Jemaah Menteri untuk beberapa langkah tindakan segera dilakukan oleh pihak kerajaan.
Zahir added that he will also seek an immediate meeting with the Terengganu Menteri Besar to discuss the issue further. The Terengganu government on Sunday issued warning notices against 10 plantation lots owned by the agency and its subsidiary, claiming that for over 40 years, no land premiums, taxes or profit sharing had been paid to the state government. It has extended FGV's deadline by 3 more days to remove its assets and vacate the premises across its approximately 15,000 hectare plantations before the seizure process begins. FGV had also begun moving its movable assets on Wednesday. The government is moving to regulate online platforms to prevent users under the age of 16 from accessing social media while ensuring that content shown to those under 18 is age appropriate. Communications Minister Dato' Fahmi Fadzil said the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission is currently developing 10 subsidiary regulations under the Online Safety Act 2025. Fahmi said the focus is to strengthen online child protection, particularly around age-suitable content. In a written reply in the Dewan Rakyat, the minister explained that platform operators will be required to provide parental controls and default safety settings. He added that the MCMC is adopting a comprehensive approach to curb harmful online content and safeguard vulnerable groups, especially children and teenagers. Several related laws are also being drafted and implemented, including licensing requirements for internet messaging and social media service providers. All schools will now be required to conduct financial literacy programs as part of efforts to curb mounting debt and investment-related scams among teachers and other civil servants. Chief Secretary to the government, Tan Sri Shamsul Azri Abu Bakar, said the rising number of cases involving public sector employees has become a serious concern. Shamsul explained that excessive borrowing among civil servants often stems from poor understanding of loan risks and investment pitfalls, with some driven into debt due to financial strain or family pressure.
Kebanyakannya melibatkan guru. Jadi saya dah minta kepada Ketua Pengarah Pendidikan buat setiap sekolah wajib buat program dengan AKPK, Agensi Kaunseling Pengurusan Kewangan. Saya dah wajibkan semua sekolah kena buat. Sebab kadang-kadang orang tak faham. Sebab kita ingat ni, dia kebanyakan pejabat awam ni ingat bila you pinjam, you invest, you akan dapat return. Sebenarnya tak boleh.
Last month, department heads nationwide were reminded to monitor officers whose debt levels exceed their repayment capacity. Civil servants may also face disciplinary action if their liabilities balloon to as much as 10 times their monthly salary. The National Union of Teaching Profession, NUTP, has welcomed the suggestion to make financial literacy courses compulsory in schools. When contacted, its Secretary General Fauzi Singon said that cooperation between schools and the Credit Counselling and Debt Management Agency, or AKPK, can help civil servants, especially teachers, from falling victims to investment scams. He said that due to such scams, a number of teachers have been forced into insolvency due to their inability to repay the debts. He also expressed hope that greater awareness can be raised as an additional mechanism to prevent such incidents from continuing to occur. The ringgit surged to 4.11 against the greenback at the close on Thursday, hitting a new high in almost 4.5 years. The local currency's previous high was on June 16, 2021, when it closed at 4.1155. Looking at this trend, the ringgit looks set to strengthen to 4 against the US dollar by the end of next year. According to CGS International, the local currency is currently trading at around 4.11 to the dollar, its strongest level since September 2024. The forecast is supported by expectations of solid economic growth in the first half of next year, as well as the narrowing interest rate gap between Malaysia and the US. Bank Muamalat's economists also added that the main factor driving the ringgit strengthening is the anticipated rate cuts by the US Federal Reserve. Malaysia's advertised salaries for digital roles are expected to rise 10.81% in 2026, extending the strong momentum seen this year. According to the National Tech Association of Malaysia, PICOM, the jump is driven by intense competition for AI, cloud, cybersecurity, and data engineering talent. It follows an estimated 9.5% jump in 2025, driven by rapid digitalization transformation, rising global tech investment, and persistent talent shortages. PICOM added that recent minimum wage adjustments have also pushed companies to revise salary structures. Malaysia's digital economy is projected to contribute about 25% of GDP by early 2026. Three injured after passenger boat catches fire. This and more after this breather.
Fan nombor 1, itu memang kamu. Jangan tunggu. Vote laju-laju. Undi calon top 10, 37. Kita bagi kecoh. Nombor 1, bintang paling popular. You are the one. Kita tentukan. ABPBH 37. Satu keunggulan. Memang tiada lawan. Joe. Undi straight sampai 9 Disember. Scan the QR. Cepat undi-undi. Benda free. Tak payah banyak bunyi. Tak cukup. Kita ganda lagi.
Hujan berterusan, punca kawasan cenderung berisiko, hati-hati dan peka keadaan sekeliling.
Benarkah lebih 1 daripada 3 lelaki di Malaysia mengalami masalah kesihatan tenaga batin? Ketahui faktor dan rawatan.
Generasi sandwich, apa tu? Generasi yang tersepit di tengah-tengah antara masalah kewangan, hubungan dan emosi.
Akta larangan media sosial di bawah 16 tahun bakal dikuatkuasakan. Adakah mampu membendung gejala sosial remaja?
Dan soal wang simpanan kecemasan buat isteri.
Isnin hingga Jumaat jam 10 pagi.
Hanya di TV3 dan ditonton.
Bila air mula naik, jangan tunggu. Selamatkan diri dan keluarga dulu. Barang boleh diganti, nyawa tak.
Peka dengan amaran manja dari sumber rasmi. Patuh dengan arahan pihak berkuasa. Kalau diarahkan pindah, pindahlah segera. Kalau nampak air, jangan redah walaupun nampak cetek.
Sebelum keluar, pastikan semua dokumen disimpan. IC, sijil lahir dan buku akaun. Simpan semua dalam plastik kedap air.
Lepas banjir, jangan masuk rumah terus. Pastikan elektrik diputuskan dan kawasan selamat. Utamakan keselamatan, bukan harta benda.
Worker
bersedia
dan patuh.
Sekarang kan tengah musim hujan dan banjir. Jika anda tidak mampu menyelamatkan masa banjir, carilah bantuan daripada pihak yang pakar dalam kerja menyelamat. Jangan bahayakan diri anda. Fikir sebelum bertindak. Anda mampu menyelamatkan nyawa.
Welcome back. The 3 Malaysians who were stranded in Indonesia due to the floods and landslides in Aceh have been successfully evacuated and flown to Medan. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan said that the matter was conveyed by Malaysia's Consul General in Medan, Shahril Nizam Abdul Malik. In a statement on Thursday, Wisma Putra said the Malaysians were identified as Lai Ka Kiong, Muhammad Azmi Shafi'i and Zulkarnain Abdullah, all aged between 63 and 69. The trio were flown from the Rembele domestic airport in Takengon to Medan aboard an Indonesian Air Force aircraft. Efforts to repatriate them are underway, with arrangements being made for their return home as soon as possible. The statement added that efforts are ongoing to contact and locate another Malaysian, 64-year-old Masita Jafar. In a separate incident, Muhammad said the search for another missing Malaysian, Asrul Nizam, who is believed to be buried in the rubble in Padang Panjang, West Sumatra, has so far yielded no leads. The search is now focused on the riverbank area and the rubble near the Kembar Bridge. 3 people, including 2 infants, were injured when the boat they were travelling in caught fire in waters off Tanjung Batu in Labuan on Thursday. They were among 39 passengers and crew who managed to flee before the blaze intensified.
Bot terbakar. Alhamdulillah semua selamat.
Ada orang tinggal di dalam.
Kami sudah sampai sini. Allah, baik-baik aku. Anak barang.
Labuan District Police Chief Superintendent Muhammad Hamizi Halim said the incident occurred at about 3 p.m. after a crewman had noticed smoke coming from the engine area and alerted the boatman. The fire is believed to have started in the engine compartment before spreading rapidly throughout the vessel. Firefighters extinguished the blaze at about 4:15 p.m. It is learned that the boat had departed Menumbok at 2:45 p.m. and was headed to Labuan when the fire broke out midway, forcing an emergency diversion to Mawila Beach, where all the passengers managed to disembark safely. Those injured were 29-year-old crew member and 2 passengers aged 1 and 2. They sustained burns on their bodies during the escape and have been sent to the Labuan hospital for treatment. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. In Pulau Pinang, a teacher who slashed his wife in the neck during a quarrel in August claimed trial at the Balik Pulau Sessions Court to a charge of attempted murder. Nazmi Izzuddin Zubairi, aged 30, pleaded not guilty to the charge. Nazmi was initially charged with the offence on November 4th, but the judge granted the prosecution's request to send the accused to the Bahagia Hospital in Perak for a psychiatric evaluation as he was unable to understand the charge. Nazmi was confirmed fit for trial based on the psychiatric report provided. He was accused of trying to murder his wife, Hanis Sofia Hamdan, 28, with a knife at their home in Sungai Ara on August 27. The charge under the Penal Code carries a maximum jail term of 20 years upon conviction. The court set bail at 15,000 ringgit and set the 6th of next month for case mention. Chaos after India's biggest airline cancels 1,200 flights. The details when Nightline returns.
Belajar kini lebih semangat dengan TV Tuition. Lebih 5,000 video pembelajaran, lebih 100 hos hebat, terdiri daripada selebriti dan guru berpengalaman. Ulang kaji jadi lebih seronok dengan lebih 10,000 soalan latihan serta ulasan guru yang membantu anda faham dengan cepat dan mudah. Apa tunggu lagi? Langgan sekarang dan stream ditonton. TV Tuition, belajar ditonton, bijak sampai lulus.
Keadaan anak ketika kemalangan tu kalau dengar pun memang tak sanggup lah. Kita memang dalam keadaan sedih sebab keadaan anak yang orang kata macam 50-50 lah. Dengan dia tumpah darah sebanyak 8 liter tu. Kesan daripada efek dia accident tu dia jadi macam down sikit lah. Macam cakap dia tak boleh dah macam nak bersukan yang seperti biasa je. Sebelum ni main bola kan. Macam nak buat kerja berat-berat pun tak boleh. Fikir bila tengok keadaan Nafi macam tu, akak sendiri tak sanggup. Akak sendiri rasa tak kuat sebab dia masih muda, masa dia masih panjang lagi. Impian akak nak tengok anak sembuh, sihat macam dulu. Satu benda je dalam kehidupan ni yang paling penting, anak-anak lah bagi akak. Akak nak anak-anak akak bahagia.
Baca doa dulu. Allah Akbar, lupa. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma aftah li abwaba rahmatika. Ya Allah, bukakanlah pintu-pintu rahmatmu untuk kami. Amin ya rabbal alamin.
Lagi satu jangan lupa, kita kena niat iktikaf dulu. Okey. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nawaitu li'iktikaf fil hazal masjid lillahi ta'ala. Sahaja aku beriktikaf dalam masjid ni kerana Allah Ta'ala. Baru boleh masuk. Ini tak lupa. Jom.
Sorry lah.
You're watching Nightline. Indonesia will revoke mining permits if companies are found to have violated rules on flood-ravaged Sumatra Island. Environment Minister Hanif Faizul Nurofik said that the disaster was caused by a changing climate, intensifying bad weather events and environmental damage, pointing to shrinking forest cover across the three worst affected provinces. Environment focus group Jatam said legal permits to convert forests into extraction zones covered about 54,000 hectares, the majority of them for mining. Among the permit holders is PT Agin Court Resources, which operates the Matabe gold mine in the Batang Toru ecosystem. Deforestation monitor Nusantara Atlas said between 2001 and 2024, Sumatra as a whole lost 4.4 million hectares of forest, an area bigger than Switzerland. Chaos gripped Indian airports on Thursday after the country's biggest airline, Indigo, cancelled over 1,200 flights, stranding thousands of passengers. The company blamed the disruption on unforeseen operational challenges, including technical glitches, adverse weather conditions, and new rules for workers. India's aviation watchdog ordered an investigation and demanded that Indigo respond with plans to ease the interruptions, which have persisted since Monday. Indigo said it was offering customers alternative travel arrangements and refunds while restoring its services. India is one of the world's fastest growing aviation markets, hitting 500,000 daily flyers last month for the first time. Meta has started removing Australian children under 16 years old from its Instagram, Facebook and Threads platforms a week before an official teen social media ban begins. An estimated 150,000 Facebook users and 350,000 Instagram accounts are expected to be affected. Threads, similar to X, can only be accessed via an Instagram account. Australia's world-first social media ban starts on 10 December, with companies facing fines of up to $33 million if they fail to take reasonable steps to stop under-16s from having accounts. The tech giant announced last month it had begun notifying users aged between 13 to 15 years old that their accounts would start being shut down from 4th December. Switching to sports now, football, the 2025 Shopee Cup. Johor Darul Takzim scored twice in stoppage time to salvage a 2-2 draw with PKR Svay Rieng FC in Phnom Penh on Thursday night. Christian Roque opened the scoring for Zahir in the 28th minute before Hien Sosidan made it 2-0 for the hosts just before the break. Shane Lowry inspired JDT's late comeback with the defender scoring in the 92nd minute and setting up Lever Corbin Ong to knot in the equalizer 4 minutes later, salvaging a point for the Southern Tigers. With the draw, JDT maintained their top spot with 7 points, 1 point above Vietnam side Nam Dinh. That concludes Nightline this time around. We leave you with visuals of dozens of new finds at a major archaeological site in southeast Turkey that give fresh insight into an area seen as showing humanity's transition from hunter-gatherers to settled societies more than 11,000 years ago. Among the latest finds in the San Liu Fa province is a statue with a facial expression reminiscent of a deceased individual. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin, Abdullah. Thank you for watching and stay safe.